crazy bottom bracket shit?
Don't know.
Can you Udemy a little bit, you know?
Welcome back to Menace Cycling. As always, I'm your host, CK. Welcome to my new bike. Her name is Sturdy Gertie. And as you can see, it is no longer a carbon frame. This is an alloy frame. This is the Specialized Allez 2022 edition. And I have to say I'm quite fond of it. All right, so for me, this bike is so much more sorted and so much more planted than the SL6 was. And I don't know if I can attribute that to the carbon or that this one's alloy, but I will say for this bike in particular, just being of that material that's a little bit heavier, it makes it a lot easier for me to descend, and it makes me more confident while I'm descending. Absolutely, 100%. So in terms of climbing, this bike is not going to be as good as a carbon climber, especially a SL6 S-Works Tarmac, but I will say that it is very good at climbing. Now, where you feel it is the weight. You are definitely penalized for the weight, so much so that this is a size 58, and I picked up one of my buddy's size 61s, and it was an all carbon frame, and that all carbon frame was definitely a lot lighter. So you will feel that weight penalty, but for me and the kind of riding that I'm doing right now, I can live with that. It's definitely worth that weight penalty to have the smoothness and the easiness of riding. When it comes to carrying speed on the flats, this bike is tremendous. I personally am a flats rider. I don't like climbing. That's not for me. I'm not 150 pounds, 260 pounds. So for me, I love riding on the flats, and this bike is perfect for that. It's a smooth ride. It's the Cadillac of bikes. Where I said that the SL6 was more like a Corvette, it was ready to take your head off. This is a nice, smooth ride, but it still packs a V8, and I love it. This to me is something that I would get another one in and maybe spec it out maybe to be more of a climbing bike if I ever wanted to climb, but this is the bike I think that I want going from now on. Another reason why I'm really excited about this bike frame is because I recently came off a crash, as I showed you at the beginning of this video, and I don't have that fear. That bike that I had previously, my SL6 S-Works Tarmac, that was a $12,000 bike. And every time I went on that bike, I do have to admit, I had a fear that I would crash that bike. This bike, I don't have a fear that I'm gonna crash the bike and not be able to replace it. I have a fear that I'm gonna crash this bike and hurt myself. So whereas when I had the SL6, I was scared about the bike. Now when I get in a crash, I'm scared about my own health. And I think that's a better way to ride, right? Not to fear your bike. And I will say that for a large part of owning the SL6, and I still own it, it's getting repaired. Don't act like I don't own it. I spent a lot of money on that shit. But you shouldn't fear your bike. And I guess I'm not in a place in my riding where I'm not fearing that SL6 S-Works Tarmac. Whereas this bike, I love riding it. I go out every day. It's so comfortable. It's such an enjoyable ride. I don't have the feeling that I need to perform as well as my bike. I get to perform as well as I can, and I really enjoy that.